In the metals quadrant, taking a look at an up day in the April gold futures contract. Not a dramatic move higher today, but gold was never really below the flat line, with today's low representing a gap higher of 7 basis points from yesterday's settlement, the low being 2040.30 and yesterday's settlement being $2,038.90. That gap is part of the reason we had a slightly higher close, despite it being a red candle on most of your candlestick charts, with a small pullback from the high today. That high being 2049.10, and it was up 0.5%, but we only ended up finishing today short of 0.1% higher, about 7 basis points higher. Inflation data, obviously when you're looking for direction in the gold contract, you're looking at inflation data. And Thursday, the U.S. Federal Reserve's preferred inflation measure gets released, and that's the personal consumption expenditure data in the U.S. The market is looking for core month-over-month inflation and headline month-over-month inflation to be slightly higher than the last read, but also for both the headline and the core year-over-year to be slightly lower. There's a good chance these will be the next big drivers for a move in the gold contract. Lately, we've had some pretty small, tight ranges in gold futures. We're also looking at the dollar and yields. Yields rose slightly today, but the dollar still pushed lower, mostly against the Japanese yen, but also slightly lower against the euro, the pound, and the Swiss, while the dollar was slightly higher against the Canadian dollar, with yields up between 1 and 3 basis points across the curve, depending on which part of the curve you're looking at. The 2-year up 1 basis point, the 30-year up 3 basis points, the 10-year up 4. But all of that contributed to really an unchanged gold contract, but slightly higher, mostly again on the back of that gap higher from the low side of things.